Hi everyone, good afternoon, and have you taken your lunch? So sorry for keep everyone waiting because we have some of our customers, we are not sure why, but the link happened to be like expired, yeah. So we were trying to like help them to join our meeting. Okay, so sorry for keep everyone waiting again. There are some technical problems. Yeah, today we would like to share with everyone regarding some of the like we look over what have happened past year and what is the outcome or outlook that we should concern for this year and upcoming months. Yeah, well, first of all, really thanks everyone for joining us. And throughout this presentation, CommonPlast team hope that the content of this presentation will bring lots of value for each of you. So we will divide the presentation in two parts. So the first part will be we look what have happened in last year. So we actually summarize the year of 2021 into a set of figures and numbers to see what are the issues that we have gone through last year. But although it's very tough and difficult this time, but then actually what have happened last year will be the very good base for us as a reference to make further decision making or consideration for this year. And after looking at the 2021, actually we will have a small surprise later on to show to you guys. After that we will have the outlook and what should we concern about for this year when we want to have some decision making or develop some strategies to tackle the challenge, even though there are huge fluctuation of the market trend or prices. Yeah, so let's see. So first of all, we start with COVID first, because as we see since 2020 until now, yeah, it's already more than 2 years. We have been like living under the everyone. The hot topics will be about COVID, when the COVID will going to end. So according to the data, actually, we see that especially last year, there are this emergence of Delta variant. And for worldwide, as of the data is up to 18th of January this year, there are more than 300 million of cases for the infection. And the death actually is more than 5 million. So what is this figure telling us? Like 5 million is actually like nearly the population of Singapore itself. So actually it raised high concerns among the publics, and especially during Q4 last year, we see there are another Omicron variant emerged. So this COVID actually provide a lot of uncertainties, which we can't predict, or we can't be very sure what will be happen after this. So at the same time, we are seeing that vaccine actually is raising with the time. Yeah, besides saving lives, it also everyone is also hoping to reopen the economy, like recover the economy as soon as possible. But after we seeing all this, it's already have been like 2 years. So is the worst situation already over or not? This one actually at the moment we can't be sure. Okay. So let's look into the China market. So we start with China market. Why? Because like for this global trend, actually more or less for any products, the main dynamic main trend actually is heavily influenced by China. So this graph actually we are showing like the price for all of the grades, yeah, for PP and PE, like right before COVID and after COVID. So we found that this is actually the domestic price for PP and PE in China. So we found that actually, like even for last year, the PP and PE price in domestic China actually is like more or less on par or slightly higher than the previous year. So it doesn't show like, okay, significantly very high or drastically high, except for LDPE. So I will explain this further later. And then we are seeing that there's one point where which is the during final quarter of last year, actually the price gap for PP show like a more significant gap compared to HD and LL. And then this one I will explain it later as well. But from the graph of price gap, actually what we can get is that the trend actually is showing how is the status of the supply availability for each of the grades. So now, yeah, let we look into more detail. So yeah, so these are the import prices for PP and PE to China. So let us start with LDPE first, because like just now we see the graph, or even for this import market, the LDPE price gap actually show a very significant premium over the other grades. So what happened is that we are seeing that actually it not starting on 2021, but actually since 2020, global worldwide, yeah, we are seeing many regions, including China, Europe, Australia. So their government actually already start emphasizing on the green energy. They are giving incentives to develop these projects. So what happened is that for green energy, for instance, this solar projects, actually it require a lot of EVA. So this EVA, as we know, for global LDPE plants, there are many of the plants are actually consist of EVA LDPE swing plant. So in case, in terms of EVA able to fetch a better demand or like, you know, higher profit margin. So many of the plants tend to switch to produce EVA instead of LDPE, which causing LDPE continuously having like a significant tightness in terms of supply. So which causing like at the point of the time, the prices being pushed up high. And then for like throughout this historical trend, actually we are seeing that China actually for this year we are having two up cycle of the like two peak of the trend. One is on the first half of the year, which is because of USA, and second half of the year is because of China. So two major big brothers of the world like influencing the trend. So let's see what happened. Yeah. Okay, so we look at the first peak of last year, like what had happened is that like I still remember that time actually the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year still not ended yet. And like but we already started to be very busy because there are a lot of news coming out saying that okay, US having, you know, like extreme winter storm, so what we call is iceapocalypse here, which causing a heavily shutdown in terms of US plants. So we are seeing that like more like for example, ethylene, more than 80% of the plants have been forced to offline during that time. So it's actually unexpected issue, and like causing like a sudden of the supply shortage issue happen. So after this incident, actually it takes up to like around 4 months to back to normal, but it really takes time. Yeah, like even until second half of the year, many of the players also inform that they still not seeing like a lot of supply from the production coming up, because it still takes time for the plants to ramp up. So this actually causing like a significant peak of the price trend, and at the same time we are seeing that because of the shortage in the South America, actually many of the others international suppliers, they tend to divert their cargoes to that area to fetch higher margin. So eventually this causing some changes in the international trade flow, and causing also like the regular suppliers who usually sell to Asia, they tend to divert their cargoes to South America. Then Asian market become like supply tightness as well, and eventually push up the Asia price. Yeah, so this is what happened. And then let's look at the second peak of last year. So what had happened is this time actually is happened in China. So we can see that actually last year Chinese government put a lot of effort in order to implement the dual control, which is we call it like carbon neutrality, to control the overall like carbon emission, environmental pollution policy. And we also see like there are ongoing like on and off electricity rationing, electricity shortages happen since summer and like up to second half of the year. Yeah, so this situation has cost like and also like some of the like prohibited Australian coal to China. So there are many factors that causing coal shortages in China, and then lead to the electricity shortage, especially during September and October. And then due to this, because the coal is also having, it is also one of the product in Dalian Commodity Exchange. So it eventually have some speculation. Actually, we can say that this peak of the price trend actually is mainly caused by speculations. But at the same time, in fact, the shortage of coal is happening as well in actual. So however, this trend doesn't sustain for too long, because after that, the Chinese government actually try to interfere into it, and causing the market price crash down after that. So this is actually also another type of uncertainties or unexpected issues that causing the trend to be happen like that, because it's policy, and like yeah, it happened and no one can really control on it or have predictions on it before that. Yeah, so this is what happened for that two peak of last year. Okay, so after looking at the unexpected issues, now we look at what has happened in China last year. So for last year, actually, okay, let us look at PP first. So we are seeing that for China, everyone is very concerned, like once we mentioned about PP, like whether China export window can continue to sustain, or it's just temporary. So what we can see is that for the past years, the total PP imports actually reduced quite significantly, yeah, as you can see on the red circle. But then at the same time, we are seeing that the local production actually is continue to rise. So in fact, actually, the global PP production, actually, the main production volume is concentrated at China. And we are seeing that local production, like since last year, it actually met near to 90% of the local demand, like which is very high. And then we also seeing there are a couple of like new plants continue to start up. Later on we will show. So this eventually will turn China to like going into the path of becoming a net exporter. Yeah, so okay, so this graph can show clearly like how the PP export in China grow like so significantly. So we can see that for last year, the PP export in China like grow twofold from the previous year. You can see from the bar, yeah. Even though we are facing like a lot of shipping issues, a lot of container shortages, constraints, but then from the statistic we actually can see actually these shipping issues more or less are affecting a little bit, but then it didn't limit the quantity didn't limit the quantity for export. Yeah, so we can see for last year actually the top destination that China exported their PP was to Asian countries. So one interesting thing to be mentioned is that Vietnam become the top destination for Chinese PP, yeah, the little brother for China. So yeah, it actually, like, the most of the regions they import like few folds of the volume compared to the previous year. However, this export window actually is not, at the moment we are still not seeing it continuously open for the export arbitrage windows yet, because China is having this futures market, the Dalian Commodity Exchange, which is will be influencing the tempo and the price trend fluctuation. So whenever the local market speculate that our price might be higher, or the futures market tend to be speculated higher, then they will tend to stop exporting, or the margin is not there, and eventually when the export window is closing, it will be showing start to show a more significant pressure in local market. So this thing actually it happened like circular. So but as time goes by, we see that if the supply coming up continuously more, then the export window shall be open more frequently, and this is actually the transition period for China to becoming the PP net exporter. Yeah. So here we actually list down like how much China PP plants has started up for last year. Yeah, this all the plants in this list is already started up. We already see their cargoes in the market. So basically we see every year and like usually we say, okay, we see the expectation for the new plant startup to be this much, but then end up the actual that startup is this much. So we are saying that for last year, it actually total there are 12 new PP plants started up. Total capacity is around 4.65 million tons, but most of the plants actually started up like on first 3 quarters of the year, yeah, or we can say that majority actually is start up on first half of the year. So usually for plant startup, they need some time for them to stabilize the production, because on and off they will have some of the technical issues. So all this actually because of the starting up concentrated on first half of the year, so we are seeing the pressure actually show more significantly toward end of the year, which is the graph I showed just now, that I mentioned that the PP price gap tend to be like more significant toward Q4 of the year compared to HD and LL. That was because of this concentrated startup on first half of the year. So the PP supply tend to be like accumulated to be more significantly higher volume, which causing pressure to the market. Yeah. Okay, after looking at PP, let us look at PE. So PE actually, if compared to PP, PE actually is less, we can say less dramatic, yeah, but there are also some of the points that we need to take note about. One is that the PE import, because as we know, China is having high dependency on the PE import, but then low dependency on PP import. Indeed, PP, like China is entering into becoming a net exporter, but for PE, China is still lacking of the cargoes. But from what we see from the statistic, these few years, yeah, eventually, like even compare last year with 2 years before, which is the year before COVID emerged, the import of PE actually show quite significant less volume, yeah, as we see. And then eventually we are seeing the local production also ramping up, because like let's say for last year, the local production actually met around like more than 60% of the domestic consumption in total. So what have causing this reduction of the overall PE, like even not only import, because as we see for the consumption of PE for last year compared to 2020, it actually dropped as well, as you can see here, like 4.2% of reduction. That was because we are seeing some of the lockdown last year, like because even though everyone like hoping that 2021 to be having a better condition in terms of COVID outbreak, but unfortunately last year we're still seeing on and off some of the places in China having some lockdown. So it actually impact on some of the demand, and at the same time the ongoing ban for single-use plastic is still happening. It's just that we didn't see like very significant or very strict policy implement yet, but then the policy actually is still happening. So more or less it actually having some impact, especially on the the shopping bag, the plastic bag consumption. Yeah, so this is the case. So let's see, as we see, like the import actually dropped quite significantly. So let us compare for HD and LL, because for these plants actually there are many plants in China actually are HD and LL swing plant. So for HD and LL, we can see that starting second half of the year, yeah, it actually the import volume actually dropped very significantly, like even below the volume of like 2-3 years ago. So one of the main issue is still the shipping issue, because many of the international suppliers, besides they are unable, or they are not able to get the cargoes, not able to get the vessels or containers or ships to send the material to China. Besides this, actually the logistic issue also causing the price gap between China market and the international other regions to be wide. So many of the suppliers, they actually tend to send the cargoes to the market that can fetch a better profit margin, right? But unfortunately, for last year, actually we can say that for last whole year, China market prices remain at the global lowest price range market. Yeah, so that is causing, because majority of the price for international market last year actually like at least some of the players say at least like 40 to 50% of the price actually is because of the surging of international freight rate. So this is one of the reasons. And we are seeing that especially for HDPE, compared to June on 2018, actually the production grow about like 60%, but for LL actually it grow up to 125%. Yeah. So we are saying that okay, the import volume actually dropped significantly, but the local production still continue to ramp up. And we are saying that because for China, they actually have this futures market Dalian commodity exchange. The product for PE actually at the moment, the main one is LLDPE. So there are one particular point of time, the market players tend to speculate on LLDPE trend. And at the same time, we are seeing actually during October, November period, that is the agricultural peak season for China as well. So meanwhile, we are seeing like HDPE price or HDPE market seems to be like having comparatively higher pressure or a weaker outlook expectation, so causing like the production for LL tend to be comparatively more compared to HDPE. So we are seeing that for this China, actually they are controlling on the coal emission, as we mentioned just now, dual control. So for upcoming might be getting tougher to approve new projects of PE plants. So besides that, let us see, like after just now we seeing on the new PP plants that come up last year. So for PE, we can see that last year actually in total, China like added more than 6.5 million tons of PE last year. But then throughout all these plants, there are only one LDPE plant emerged. So we can see that how is the difference and why the LDPE price can carry a premium over the other grades because of the supply tightness. And not to forget, for these new capacities, actually HDPE will still carry a largest pressure, because even though like there are many HDLPE swing plants coming up, but then according to China plant technical players, they actually mentioned that for all the swing plants or majority of the swing plants in China, as long as it's HDLPE swing plant, they started up, they will have to produce HDPE injection grade first. Due to the technical reason. So no matter how, so HDPE supply will be the top among all the grades. So and then eventually the producers will adjust, like whether they switch to LL or not accordingly, following the market trend. Yeah, so this is the situation. So after looking at China, actually besides China, there are also many plants started up last year. So what we can see is that the most significant is in Korea. So Korea actually started up quite a lot of like PP and P, especially on the PP cargos. Yeah, but then many of the cargos actually emerged quite concentrated on nearby Q4 of the year. And yeah, we are seeing that they are actually offering a huge number of volume for the cargos to especially Asian region. And then like not to forget Vietnam and Philippines. So actually we are seeing that the supply pressure for Asian market actually is still continuously increased. Okay, so with all these new capacities, like either inside China or outside China, we are seeing like, okay, there are a lot of supplies coming out, there are lots of pressure, right? But why? We are still seeing that the market is still not oversupply yet. The supply is still tight. So actually these two factors we have mentioned just now, but later on we will go into detail for the shipping side. So for supply disruption, as I said previously, like the US winter storm, and actually there are also ongoing gas shortages happen in the Middle Eastern countries. So for the LDPE, besides the less or limited new plant coming up, actually Iran is the biggest LDPE exporter to China, and actually last year, especially I remember in September, Iran actually also facing some electricity shortages that impact on some of the PE production due to gas shortage as well. And toward December, actually, we are seeing, although it is not impacting that much on PE, but during December, Iran also faced a gas shortage during winter and impact on some of the methanol production. So this actually not only in Iran, but also like throughout the Middle East. So we are seeing that that is why throughout the year, the supply from Middle Eastern countries actually are not much. And then for shipping challenges, we will see into details later. So let's see for the events that happen for this shipping site. Yeah. So throughout the year, like you see, like from March, May until November, almost like every 2-3 months we will see some of the incidents happen. So on March we have the Suez Canal blockage, which is the ever given vessel is stuck at the Suez Canal. So in May, we have the Yantian port shutdown is due to COVID outbreak. That actually take quite a long time, yeah, for it, like quite a long impact, yeah, for it to recover back. And then after the recovery of the from the COVID, then Eastern China faced Typhoon Infa, and unfortunately because this Infa also involved Ningbo port, and in right after July, in August, Ningbo port locked down because of the newly emerged COVID again. So this actually, and toward November, we are seeing the US West Coast having congestion. So on top of the current situation, we see the port congestion and container shortages or overall global vessel supply imbalance already happening, but there are still ongoing unexpected events that happen. So this added further further issues on this unresolved freight issues. Yeah, so this is actually quite a big issue or big problem that most of the market players are concerned about. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so here we are actually taking the Ningbo Container Freight Index. Actually, is one. Actually, there are some others like Shanghai Container Freight Index. So this is as a reference to show how it divert so significantly compared to the previous, before COVID, the normal time. So we can see that even though the freight rate is keep on increasing so crazily, because according to this index, we are seeing that actually during October, November, that time, there are slight reduction of the freight cost. I still remember that time was the around the National Day holiday of 7 days long holiday for China. So during that time, many of the market players were saying, whether the freight already coming to the peak, because China is entering a long holiday and everyone already either give up or unable to export their cargoes to reach before Christmas, this and that. And demand start to be slower due to the holiday. So everyone were expecting the freight already hit the peak. However, after that, we are seeing the freight rebound again. And at the moment, nobody, or we are not sure when the freight is really hitting the peak yet, or yeah. So we only can monitor further. However, even though this freight rate keep increasing, but it is still not stopping, just now I mentioned, still not stopping China to export, and South Korean South Korean materials, they also continue to accelerating their export. Yeah. So from this data, we are seeing in total, in total. South Korea polyolefins export for last year actually still growing like more than 6% year-on-year basis. Yeah, but they are exporting mostly. You can see we have highlighted here actually. Their export to China has dropped, and their export to Turkey has dropped as well. So why we highlighted Turkey? Because South Korea actually previously they like all this while they have a competitive advantage or the benefits to sell to Turkey, because Korea and Turkey, they have this FTA, free trade agreement. So theoretically, Korea shall export more, or like before this, actually Korea export a lot to Turkey. But why last year this volume dropped so much is because, like, one thing is that the freight, the freight issue. Another is that the price, the profit margin differences. So so this causing that okay, their export to Turkey dropped, as well as China, because as I mentioned just now, for last year, China market has been like posing a comparatively lower price compared to other regions. So like for Korea, they chose the better netback destination. So that is why. However, we are seeing, as we showed just now, Korea is having a lot of new plants come up already. So whether they will continue to like export aggressively or not, we will wait and see. Okay. So after looking at the Asian region, we have a look on USA side. So for USA, as we mentioned just now, last year during like February, March, they actually experienced an unexpected winter storm. So their export for overall last year actually dropped significantly, like more than 20%, more than 21%. So so for the major global importing countries like China, India, Turkey, actually US lost their market share there. But eventually we are seeing that US, because of the manufacturers, so they actually try to focus their destination market at the nearby area, like Mexico, Canada, Brazil. But we are seeing that one thing is that whether this winter storm or this like you know, the drastic weather will be happening again this year or not. And after this, we shall be able to see whether US cargoes will return to Asian market again or not. So this is and one of the interesting point to take note about. Yeah. And after we seeing what has happened in 2021, like I say just now, we actually have a small surprise for every one of you here. So we actually have a program. We actually have a program to play. One moment, yeah.
This is what the bosses say when we put decision makers from various elite companies in the petrochemical sector under the spotlight to find out how are these companies planning to drive out of the pandemic in 2022. Let's find out who is joining us today.
have our guest right here with us. How is everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, hi.
Good. Let us jump straight to the question. Pak Rudi, Pertamina is planning multiple new projects. At the moment, we can say that at least two are related to the polyolefin sector. One is the JV with Russian Rosneft Oil Company, and the other one is partnership with Taiwan CPC. But Pertamina is not the only Indonesian producer who is expanding its capacities. Chandra Asri and Lotte Chemical are having their expansion project too. By 2025 to 2026, when all these new plants come online, what is your take on the supply-demand dynamic in Indonesia at that time?
Actually, we have another project, not only, as you mentioned earlier, we have also project of PP Balongan and also olefin PPPI at Tuban and East Java. And all local producer on stream, all PP or PE will be surplus, correct? Yeah, but local market is our priority, and we would like to give a multiplier effect in this sector since currently the industrial activity in West Java, and then we will move in the East Java and Central Java. So we will in the future we will please serve the market in the Central East Java. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, majority of our Indonesian customer believe that demand should be able to catch up at that time too. So we shall wait and see.
Well, since we are still in the Indonesian market, I have a question for Pak Vicky. We understood that Panchabudi is carrying some of the biggest brands in the market like Itilinas, Malex, and Innoplast. So all these brands need to be imported. So would you tell us how the shipping issues affected your business in 2021, and how did Panchabudi did financially last year?
I mean, this shipping issue is happening all over the world, and Indonesia or even Panchaburi, we are not the only one who experience it. But I've been talking to a lot of business partners, a lot of friends. They were saying in their 30, 40 years of business experience, they never experienced such a terrible shipping problems before. Of course, the effect is more like all of our stock in our warehouse is not stable. Yeah? There are times where you have 2 months of inventory coming at the same time, and then there are times where the shipment was delayed for 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, like there are certain ports in Indonesia where normally the shipping time for like 6 to 7 days can go all the way to 6 to 7 weeks, which is the uncertainty of arrival time that is very difficult for us to manage the supply chain. Yeah. And then, yeah, but like I said, luckily, I would say luckily, again, this is a situation that everybody faced. So not only me, the other stockists, the other importer are facing the same problem as well. So we basically just have to manage our stock carefully. We tend not to overpromise our customer. We tend not to sell anything that we don't have the arrival date from the shipping agent yet. And then, yes, again, but it's a lot of extra work. Even my logistic team, I need to hire an extra 1 or 2 persons so that we can monitor all the schedules coming in, all the shipping lines schedule. We need to be more active. So again, here we are. 2020, 2021, we are doing okay. I mean, because of the shortage of material and the fact that we manage our stock properly. So yeah, we did quite okay for 2021. Thanks a lot.
I see. So Pak Vicky, are you looking to expand your source of supply?
In terms of supply, of course, we are always looking at the possibilities, but it's just that because of the duty issue, yeah, as you know, we are limited to ASEAN producer, which Panchaburi at the moment we literally have contact regular basis with most of the Asian producer. Anything beyond ASEAN is subject to duty. So unless there are certain times where the price gap can really can absorb the duty difference, yes, we are looking at other sources as well. But as we discussed earlier, the freight is another issue. I mean, like If it is further, simply means the freight coming into Indonesia will be even more expensive as well. And at this stage, I think most of the local producer will say they want to sell to anything with a better netback, so they will be aiming to sell somewhere closer region or even domestically. So, but again, if there is good opportunities with new sources, yes, we'll be more than happy to explore.
Hey, to all the international suppliers, you're looking at your potential buyer here right now.
I am with Vicky. The shipping crisis last year indeed affected everyone with import and export activities. I believe this is one of the reasons why international suppliers are setting up warehouses in the markets they deem important. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Bing from Mingri Holdings about their recent setup of the trading hub in Vietnam. Mr. Bing, has the trading hub helped your company to mitigate the impact of the shipping issues? And would you mind elaborating further on the functions of this hub?
So, of course, the trading hub in Vietnam does help to mitigate the impact. Actually, so we've been setting up this local company or the associated warehousing system and the logistics system for quite some time, 1 year or two. Actually, so now with this trading hub in Vietnam, so we are able to providing our customers some of the like the JIT or just in time delivery to our customers, and also help us to manage our stocks in Vietnam, and now we can manage it more freely and to help us to reach to more customers and so cater to the customers' demand more freely. And also the other function of this trading hub in Vietnam is that actually currently we are promoting some advanced or specialty material, especially for metallurgy. So we are building a local team. Actually, it's still in progress. So we hope that with this small local sales team, so we can promote more or more efficiently promote the metallurgy grades to the end user customers.
Mr. Jonathan, Zhongjing Petrochemical has been active in the export market since 2018, and I believe the water and container shortages hurt your market expansion greatly, especially last year. So you're now facing a stiff competition from South Korean suppliers who obviously have the shipping advantage. So how are you planning to maintain a more consistent presence in the export ground and stay competitive in 2022?
So far we don't really have a more like a good plan for it. Like Mingri, they have a training hub in setting up in Vietnam. So by the time we are having long-term business relationship with relatively big shipping company, in order to ensure stable container supply and on-time delivery. And after this conference, I may seriously consider to work with Mingri. Maybe we can expand our volume and also to diversify how we actually to promote our product to more different location.
Let us go back to Malaysia to talk with Tolling Corporation about the market situation here. Mr. Loh, the Malaysian market is mature. Even before Prefchem construct their mega plant, allow us to refresh our memories. Prefchem has a nameplate capacities of 900,000 tons per year of PP and 750,000 tons per year of PE. With Prefchem coming online, Malaysia automatically turned into a net exporter. My question for you is, what are you going to do to retain your position as a top trading company in Malaysia?
I think for this question, maybe I will answer it in two parts. The first part is regarding this supply demand issue. In fact, I think the situation of PP and PE is different in terms of the export orientation. With the new capacity from Prefchem, is it? So the total PP production capacity in Malaysia will reach around 1,600 kPa, Whereas Malaysia market consumption of PP is estimated around 600 KTA. Hence, you're right that there will be a huge capacity for PP export. But as for PE, there's no new additions production capacity of LDPE from the Prefchem. The new 400 KTA production capacity of HDPE from Prefchem will increase Malaysia HDPE total productions capacity to around 860 KTA. With domestic HDPE estimated consumptions of 700 KTA, so we foresee that there will be around 20 to 25% increase of HDPE export quantity. Meanwhile, for the Prefchem 350 KTA LLDPE production capacity, this will increase the total LL production capacity of Malaysia to around 480 KTA. Yet the domestic consumptions of LL is estimated at 550 KTA. Hence, we foresee that there will be not a big spike in the export quantity, but rather the import of LL could be significantly reduced. So once Prefchem production is online, in the short term, this overwhelming quantity is too huge for domestic market to consume. Subsequently, Malaysian PP and PE market prices will be very competitive. And this will pose stiff challenges, especially to those that imported PP and PE. In the long run, Malaysia competitive pricings of these PP and PE could enhance the competitiveness of domestic plastics industry player in the international market. And this will help to boost the total domestic consumptions, especially for those export-oriented businesses. So for tooling, we have to be agile toward this new paradigm shift in PP or PE supply demand situation. And we need to be more efficient in order to provide more values to our customers and suppliers. And we believe that digitalization is an essential tool to achieve this objective. Hence, tooling has started embarking the digitalization journey in the last 5 years. And this does not solely for tooling corporation internal digitalizations, but we also promote to our customers and together to join this journey.
At this point, we all have a rough idea about our guests' company background. Now, I have a question for each of you. From your company's point of view, what would be the biggest challenge or challenges that you must overcome in 2022 to stay profitable? And how are you planning to overcome these challenges? Mr. Low?
I think the main challenge in 2022 is a matter of how soon or how smoothly the recovery of Malaysian plastics industry, especially Malaysia's small medium enterprises or SME, because they are still struggling and fighting for the survival due to this pandemic. So in fact, SME is Tooling Corporation major customer group, and hence Tooling Corporation need to be agile and quick in responding to their requests. With this respect, Tooling Corporation is ready to support our customer in designing a customized revival plan, so that together we shall sail through this storm, and together we shall prevail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Low. Pak Vicky, could you like to add?
I think the biggest challenge is still going to be freight. This logistic issue create a lot of uncertainty, so that is the biggest challenge. Yeah. So how can you plan your business when you don't know whether the cargo is going to arrive in 6 weeks time or 2 weeks time? So again, that is the biggest challenge. It's the uncertainty that is a big problem. And of course, when you are selling the commodity product to a certain customer, when the price goes up and down within weeks, so they don't want that uncertainty, and then they will. So again, that in my personal opinion, that is the biggest challenge. And of course, like what you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of new capacity coming up, and there's no, again, probably is uncertainty. Again, there's no certain date when is this new capacity going to come up, and they are all big volume. So when this new capacity come up, then it will create disbalance in the supply and demand structure. Yeah, so that's what I always thought. But that's why it's always good to become a member of CommoPlast. They can give you very accurate information.
I see. Mr. Bing, how about your opinion?
The ocean freight remains to be our maybe biggest challenge for 2022. And apart from that, also for Mingzhi ourselves, we also face some other challenges like the restrictions of international travel in China. So we face a very long quarantine period if we go abroad, or actually coming back from abroad. So which restricts our international travel. And so as I just mentioned actually earlier, we are building a small team in Vietnam to promote the metallurgy, and that requires us to actually go face to face with our customers and to promote it physically to our customers and also to identify their needs, their demands. And that requires us to go face to face with our customers. So with currently the travel ban, so it is quite tricky for us to continue the business and try to promote the metallurgy.
Mr. Wong, how about Zhongjing Petrochemical?
For us, I think the biggest challenge for us is the supply pressure of PP this year, 2022. As you may all know, a couple of PP projects with super high output volume per unit per plant is expected to start up this year. Therefore, we think that obviously downward pressure could be there for PP. How do we overcome? In Zhongjing point of view, we always take vertical integration. As you may know, we start up from BOPP as a BOPP film manufacturer and kind of move upstream, producing our own PP, producing our own propylene. So to establish a more like an industrial chain from propane to BOPP. So vertical integration and also product diversification, I think are the main two ways for us to enhance and lower the cost and increase overall competitiveness.
Rudy?
First is economic recovery and also the pandemic, because until now we don't know when the pandemic will end. And then Vicky says is global supply chain issue is correct, and then new capacity will coming in the earlier, which is also correct. And the next challenge for us is exchange rates, IDR and US, because if the gap between US dollar and EDR is very high, this become the problem also to us too, because we in domestic market we should sell the cargo in rupiah in IDR, and then I think should we anticipate also is a upstream condition. This means how much the stock, especially for PE and PP, this become the issue at 2022. Just like at this moment, the crude oil become the 80. Don't know. Will next month or next week, we don't know how much the crude oil.
We have heard you loud and clear. There's no doubt that the market will be facing many uncertainties ahead, and I hope all of your plans will work out for the best.
Well, I think I can speak for everyone when I say we want to know a bit more about China market. And fortunate enough, we have two major Chinese suppliers here today. So, Mr. Jonathan, what are the challenges you face as a PDH-based plant over the past year, given the severe shortages of LPG supply?
So far, we do not see an obvious shortages of LPG supply. I think mainly supporting by the expansion of export volume from United States, and also an expected oil production increase in OPEC plus this year. So some people say that strong demand for propane from PDH will be tightening the market and also the margin ahead. As you may know, a couple of startup is going to happen in China in the next few years, also putting a strong downward pressure on propylene price as well. Yeah. So, but from our point of view, as you may know, last year, Chinese government actually strengthened the energy intensity target by cutting the energy, how do you say, per unit level, if that makes sense. And this could actually cap PDH expansion in a long way. It means that the process of attaining approval for a new project will become harder in order to meet the energy target. So for PDHs, I think in the next few years, I think the expansion will slow down. So, and as far as now, we don't see an obvious shortage of LPG as supply yet.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan.
Pak Rudy, I'm wondering if Pertamina face similar feedstock issues?
Actually, no, Pertamina have 6 refineries, and one of the refinery can produce PP. That the refinery for PP is integrated with the crude oil that come from around the refinery at Placu, at South Sumatra. So there is no issue for us regarding the LPG production for the production.
Oh, so Zhongjing and Pertamina are having 2 different processes. That's why they experience different production challenges.
Hey, Mr. Jonathan, since you are in the BOPP market, we would love to hear your opinion on the prospect of this sector in 2022.
We are one of the largest BOPP manufacturer in the world. Our first production line actually started in 2005. So we experienced one of the best period of BOPP industry. A lot of money, of course, and also during the worst period as well, where a lot of people overheating on the investment on the BOPP production line. So the BOPP margin remain on a very low level, more like yeah. So I mean last year I think starting from 2020 BOPP actually 2020 and 2021 more like the two best year, two best performance for BOPP in 5 years. So and from last year we have seen some BOPP production line investment keep going. Keep trying to invest more in BOPP production project last year. So in the long term, we could see it could be result in a serious competition in the next couple of years. So in 2022, I think BOPP market margins will still become positive and still remain a certain part margin, but it will be definitely lower than last year. But at the same time, as you may know, PP the supply pressure is still there. So I think in terms of PP BOPP margin is still, I think it's still relatively healthy.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan. So, Mr. Bing, what are your expectations on the local China market this year?
I think that for Q1 and Q2, so maybe I think until May or June, so the situation would be still sustainable, or the situation can still hold. That's for 2 reasons. One reason is that actually, so we have some expectations of some government active financial or fiscal policies that could boost the Chinese macro economy in the whole. And so that's one thing. And the second thing is that actually we see that because of the shortage of ocean freight, the vessel space and also the high ocean freight, that we expect there would be not too many supplies, international supplies into China during the Q1 and Q2. And so for the first half, so we are relatively optimistic. But for Q3 and Q4, actually we cannot say from now on. From now, actually it's too far to estimate how the future movement. But in generally, we are not optimistic for the whole year because of the new capacities, especially I think also in Southeast Asia we have the Petrochemical in Malaysia, and also we have the SAG's Long An plant in Vietnam, and I believe both of them are going to supply to China, and I guess they are going to be online on second half of the year, and plus there are also a lot of like new capacities in China as well, in local markets. So in terms of the price, I mean, so I guess in 2022 we should expect a lower on average a lower price than 2021. But for Q1 and Q2 we think the price can still hold.
Another question for Mr. Low. We see that tolling has been spearheading the Industry 4.0 initiative over the past few years. Could you share with us the progress of implementation and how has it helped your customer in reducing the impact on the environment and also the reliance on the foreign worker?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Tooling Corporation has started the collaboration with external consultants, industrial expertise, government agencies, universities, even the NGO, in organizing a conference called INTEC. In fact, we started this INTEC conference back in 2018 with the topics of Industrial Revolutions 4.0, then followed by INTEC 2019 with the topic of sustainabilities. The latest version was the virtual INTEC conference in 2021 with the topics of redesigning the future of plastics packaging. The key objectives are to promote the adoptions of technologies, alertness of the circular economy towards environmental impact, highlighting government financial assistance and aids so that the plastics industry players in Malaysia can continue to develop the human capital needed to handle new technology, reduce the dependencies of low-skilled foreign laborers, and at the same time to stay relevant in the face of new market trend for their business sustainability. We received an encouraging response from our customer as well as from the suppliers, as it helps to bridge the gap between solution providers and plastics industry players, especially the small medium enterprise.
That could be the final question for today. From what we heard, the biggest issues that keep these bosses up at night are the persistent shipping challenges, how quickly can the economy recover from the pandemic, and the heightened competition from all the new capacities. We will dig deeper into these issues now.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. That was actually a pre-recorded a video that which we asked the bosses of our sponsorships. So actually from that we can actually see that yeah, most of them mentioned about like the main issue actually is the shipping. Yeah, it is still the main concern. Okay, so let us continue for this second half of the presentations. Yeah. One moment. I still can't share my. Okay. So sorry. So as we mentioned just now, like from the video that we see just now as well, most of the bosses mentioned about their concerns regarding the uncertainty or the issues of the freight. Yeah. So let us look into this year. What are the points or the main factors that we need to take note about? So first of all, we look into we look deeper into the freight issues. So from here we actually took the global container index from the Freightos, yeah, which is one of the major platform for this freight data. So actually we see that this freight cost actually since last year, since the beginning, it opened with a very strong note. And at the moment, actually most of the players in the market is still very concerned about when is the peak going to happen, or when will be the end of this continuously ongoing increasing freight costs. At the moment, there are no certain time period or expectations, but what we can see is that there are some of the major shipping companies like this CMA or and this Hapag-Lloyd, they since last year they actually mentioned that they will suspend the continuous or upcoming further hike of the freight cost, but we are not seeing any significant drop of the freight rate yet. And according to this Zenata data, yeah, actually for this Asia USA road contract price, for last year actually it surged like up to 1.22% compared to the previous year. So we are seeing that at the moment there are actually still no strong factor to pressure the price down yet, but we should continue to concern about this. So compared to the global market, actually, we are seeing China is still very cautious, very conservative on this control of the COVID outbreak. So basically, China is still implementing the zero tolerance policy toward this COVID compared to the others like the Western regions. Yeah. So this actually will continue to extend the bottleneck issues that happening like ongoing in this shipping line. So this is actually another factor, like we shall see whether there will be any further changes or any further development of the policy after this. So on the left corner of this graph, actually we are showing that the number of the containers or vessels that is waiting at the China port. So this graph actually show quite a clear situation for us to see. So around, like we can see that around second quarter of the year, the red line, like suddenly it surged, it meaning that getting more, significantly more number of containers and vessels waiting at the port nearby China. So that was the one that we mentioned just now, is the COVID outbreak at Yantian port. And after that, like during August, September period, that one was because like outbreak at the Ningbo port. So so actually this ongoing events actually is still like causing the overall issues remain unresolved. Yeah. So at the same time, we also have to look at the retail sales of US, or whether it will be continue to like remain strong or not in order to support this freight booking like in 2022, because we are seeing like last like previous years during COVID outbreak, like many of the countries, they actually, you know, release money. So right now there are no more further additional money to release to the market. So whether this will like let us look into more detail on this section. Yeah. So we can see that like during COVID outbreak, actually many of the big or small countries, the local government actually releasing money to stimulate or to help to save the overall like economy of that region. But we are seeing that the overall global economy growth is going to slow about 4% this year, and at the same time, we are seeing that inflation actually is still remain the biggest threat throughout this recovery process. So for this graph, actually, we are showing like the how the performance for these US retail sales based on the sector. Yeah. So what we see is that like especially on the online sales, the growth also like drop a lot. So actually we are seeing that for China, yeah, for China GDP actually for 2021 it was 8.1%, and for China itself, its import and export growth actually rose like nearby 30%, and US actually is the biggest trade partner of China. So if we look at this US retail sales statistics, so we can see that we can actually relate to the China trade, like for upcoming, if this situation continue, whether this will going to like impact on China trade itself. So we can see like like how it go later on. So for this for this on top of this, actually we also seeing that like there's another like the price increase because of inflation, so the sales drop, but at the same time we are seeing like the crude price, the energy costs also continue to increase. So for this year, one of the main thing that everyone concerned about is that the Federation is market is expecting Federation to increase the interest rate 3 times this year. We are not sure when, but after they increase this, but at the same time there are no more new stimulation coming up. So this will be eventually tightening the overall liquidity of the market. So we shall be concerned on this, and this actually will be creating some impact toward the petrochemical industry. And after that, for this year, like let's look at what will be happening for PP. So like no matter how, for this year, the overall market still unable to escape from the continuous ongoing increasing of this shipping costs, as we mentioned just now. And then there are also on and off production disruption in Asia. Like recently we see like Pertamina, IRPC, or even like we are seeing there are possibility that some of the plants, like let's say in Vietnam, might have some shutdowns after this. So all these unexpected or unplanned shutdown of the plants actually will be impacting the dynamic of the supply, that supply availability in the market, and also the uncertainties on the freight actually will also causing some of the delay, especially like including congestion on some of the ports that are still not resolved yet, will also be affecting the timing for the cargoes to arrive. So all of these, when we add together, actually will be causing like, okay, this beginning of the year, the trend actually started with a very quite a strong note, but then we are not sure how long this trend will continue or will sustain. So we will see. So after looking for like last year, the PP capacity start up. So this year actually China added like expectation, expectation will be near to 6 million tons of new PP capacity in 2022. But as I say just now, like every year actually we have a long list of new plants start up like upcoming. But then throughout the months, we will see like in actual how many plants actually started up. But with this expectation, actually most of the market players tend to be more conservative, because we are seeing like, okay, still ongoing huge capacities planning to come up later on. So based on our rough projections, based on CommoPlast rough projections, we are expecting that for this year, maybe China will export like near to around 2.5 million tons of PP, maybe, provided that if all of these plants, like most of these plants really start up on time. But for sure, like we always see that actually some of the plants, they will have some delays or have some issues. Besides that, we are seeing that South Korean suppliers, most probably they were still trying to compete and trying to like get more market share in Asia, since they already started up, as we showed just now on the map, already started up their plants. So both Korea and China, they are competing to sell for their PP export. And it actually depends on the shipping situation. So we are expecting this both of these major Far East Asian makers, they might be competing very aggressively to export their PP. So it will be interesting to see how the PP price develop after this, if the competition still continue to remain high. But for sure, China will continue to become the will be continue to on the road toward becoming the stable net exporter of PP. So after looking at PP, we are clear, right? So let's look at PE. So for PE, actually the main concern for PE industry actually is the HDPE, because as we see just now, like most of the new plants started up are majority consists of HDPE or HDPE LDPE swing plant. So for this year, we are expecting like provided that if all of these plants come online, there will be more than or also near to 5.8 million tons of PE coming this year. So throughout these 10 new plants, more than half of it are standalone HDPE plants. So you can see that like the HDPE pressure is really high, and for LDPE plant is only like 3 of it. And so we are seeing that the HDPE pressure is actually quite significant. And so let's see. Okay, so let's see how is the HDPE situation in detail for China market. So one thing to note about is that the total export for HDPE actually surged quite significantly. Even though we see that, okay, these figures, if we compare with PP export, it seems to be okay, it's just a minor, it's not really huge quantity. But this export growth of more than 100% actually is quite a point to take note about, and we shall continue to keep an eye on the further development on it, because this actually meaning that the HDPE pressure in China actually is quite high. And then at the same time, the import for HDPE also reduced. Actually it is like at least for a decade that HDPE consumption like registered the negative growth like since like so many years. So so for HDPE wise, actually we shall pay more attention on it and see how we can continue to manage the HDPE cargoes planning for all the players. Yeah. So due to this, for international suppliers, they might be like more concerned about it, like if let's say China continue to export more HDPE after this. So yeah, so that's all for today, and we will post a poll for everyone to vote regarding your opinion for the upcoming trend. So everyone feel free to vote, and we will show this result after this. Yeah, but after this poll, actually we will enter into Q&A session. I have saw some of the question being written. So everyone feel free to send us any question that you would like to know further, and we shall come back in 2 minutes. Thank you, everyone.